To help me delve deeper into this conversation this evening is the immediate former LSK president and the Westlands UDA member of parliament aspirant, that is Nelson Havi. Nelson, thank you very much for making time for us this evening. Now, as we get into it, let's just begin with the issue pertaining to the IEBC. We've witnessed a lot of chaos, for lack of a better word, in terms of how IEBC has been carrying out itself. And just to pick a few isolated cases, we saw the case with Walter Mungare's certificate being revoked. We saw Jimmy Wanjiki being stopped, and also just the recent one, we have Mike Mbuvi Sonko, who's also now been denied the opportunity to run based on his impeachment. So what are we looking at here? Are we looking at an electoral body that's rightfully carrying out its mandate, or we're just seeing signs of a lot of discrepancies that we could very much be witnessing come the 9th of August?
Well, so far, IEBC has conducted itself in a manner demanded of it by the Constitution and the enabling legislation. Look, if you do not have a degree certificate, and the degree certificate is one of the requirements for vying for a particular office, IEBC is entitled to exclude you. If you're required to have a certain number of supporters as an independent candidate for president or for any other elective offices, you are required to meet that threshold. And perhaps we may say, if all institutions will do their work in the manner in which is demanded of them by the Constitution, then we'll be looking forward to a free and fair election. At that point, may I also mention what happened in court yesterday when a bench of 3 judges decided to set aside the decision by Justice Anthony Murima, which had blocked the submission of nomination papers by the UDA senatorial aspirant Paul Gadangu for Kiambu and Senator Mike Mbuvi Sonko for Mombasa. What the court said that ABC must do its work. The role of examining eligibility for purposes of issuing a nomination certificate is the role of IEBC. And I don't see any problem so far insofar as their performance is concerned. They have done pretty well.
Okay, well, if you look at this issue on barring candidates based on academic qualifications, now there's also an argument that most of them have been posing because we are having legislators and also leaders that are actually defending their seats. So it means they were in the very same position back in 2017. And the question being raised is, why was it not an issue then and it's now an issue? So how then do you answer to the people that are sort of issuing blame to the IEBC, saying there is some sort of selective application being applied to different candidates?
Now, the problem that bedevils Kenya's leadership cadre is this. Everybody believes he or she can beat the system. If you didn't go to school, you didn't go to school. It's as simple as that. And there's propriety in certain requirements as far as education and professional qualifications are concerned. I hold the strong view that anybody bestowed with the enormous role of formulating laws, oversighting the executive, distributing national revenue, and oversighting infrastructural development. This is at the legislative level. Or even anybody charged with executive mandate of running a county government or being the President of the Republic of Kenya must of necessity, at the bare minimum, have a degree. And it is a shame that this requirement was declared unconstitutional by a High Court judge. If we do not require a degree to make laws, then why do you require a degree to be a lawyer? Why do you require a degree to be a judge? You must see the irony. So insofar as IEBC has maintained a firm position on these requirements, I think they're doing the right thing. The fact that these people may have escaped the net before is not an excuse. They ought not to have served, if at all they didn't have a degree then. And it must sadden you, because for instance, somebody whose father was a minister in Kenyatta's government, in Moi's government, does not have a degree and wants to be president and has the audacity of submitting his name for nomination. It should worry Kenyans. What will these people do when they have the power to serve you in those offices? To me, it's not just a perfunctory exercise. It goes to the integrity. No wonder you see some of us can declare without any insidious recourse.
Yeah.
Where he went to school, who our headmaster was, where he went to high school, who our principal was, where he went to the university, who the chancellor was. You can't just come here, collect a degree obtained from a university atop a tuck shop, you know, and come and say you want to lead. You see, the necessity of this professional and academic qualification is to guarantee certain standards of ethics upon an individual.
Yeah.
You understand? I can tell you, James Orengo is a lawyer. So when he's in Parliament, we're able to evaluate him on the calibration upon which he rose to that rank.
Okay.
For instance, Oparanya is an accountant stroke auditor. We're able to calibrate him on the basis of that. Professor Nyang' Nyong is a political scientist. Now, we need to know what you do for us to be able to see what you can do as a leader. It goes to the integrity, the ethos. I've, in a previous occasion, insisted, perhaps we need to teach religious education afresh.
Yeah.
We need to teach GHC afresh. We need to teach social ethics afresh. Because these leaders lack these basic requirements of being good people for purposes of leading.
Okay, well, just to, of course, touch on one of those candidates, and it's something that the sort of a loophole in the constitution, many people are alluding to that fact. I had the opportunity to sit down with former Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko on Sunday evening, and he's of the idea that, yes, he was impeached, but he hasn't yet pursued all avenues of appeals to see to it that he gets the justice he believes he deserves. Now, you're a lawyer, and this conversation is actually very timely. We have the aspect of the CJ stating very clearly that if you've been impeached, you have been impeached. And then this other side, we have candidates arguing that the very same constitution allows for you to not be deemed impeached up until you actually pursue all avenues. So what is what? Who is on the right side of this?
If you are impeached, you stand disqualified from running for public office until that impeachment is otherwise set aside. And we must create the dichotomy between the impeachment process and a criminal conviction process. When you are convicted, for instance, by a magistrate, you have the right of appeal. You'll appeal to the High Court, you'll appeal to the Court of Appeal, and you'll appeal to the Supreme Court. It's a three-tier appellate process. When you are impeached, there is no appellate process from that decision. If the county assembly has impeached you, and that impeachment has been confirmed by the Senate, there is no appellate process. What you can do is to take action before a court of law to challenge the administrative action of the county assembly and the Senate. Now, that is not an appeal. And the Constitution has made it express. If you are convicted and you haven't exhausted the appellate process and you've initiated it, then you are qualified to run. I'll give you an example. Like John Waluke, he was convicted. He appealed. His sentence was stayed pending the determination of appeal. So he's eligible to run. Mike Mbuvi Sonko, Ferdinand Waititu were impeached. They may have gone to court to challenge that action through the Constitutional and Judicial Review Division of the High Court. But their impeachment still stands. It will be turning logic over its head to apply the principles that relate to a conviction to an impeachment. And the standards that were set under the constitutions were intended to foreclose such a nebulous perceptions. So the clarity here is drawn in ink. Yeah, it cannot be subject of two interpretation.
So it's as clear as the fact that IEBC is right on this. Mike Mbuvi Sonko cannot be allowed to run. It's an end game for him as of this point.
Yes, that's what the law is.
Okay. Well, we also have another faction of candidates, and these are the independent candidates. a few weeks ago, we were looking at 55 presidential candidates, and people were even starting to imagine the chaos that would come with in terms of printing the ballot paper and the logistics involved in that. But as of today, all the candidates have been barred from running, and we only have 4 presidential candidates that are going to go for this seat. But then again, they've also said that they're not going to stop at that these are just forces fighting them, and they'll see to it that within this 10-day window period that they're allowed to seek for disputes, or to seek the advice of those dispute resolution committees so that they can get the justice they deserve. What do you see happening within this 10 window period? Is it likely to overturn anything? And is there something that is actually happening to these independent candidates and their right to say that these are forces behind the scenes affecting them?
Look, Kenya is a multi-party democratic state.
Yeah.
It is party-based. The politics, the election of Kenya are party-based. Mm-hmm. You stand as no ball chance in hell vying as an independent, reaching whatever office you desire.
Yeah.
And for those who make it to parliament or county assemblies, you end up being isolated in the leper's corner, because you will not have the dominance that goes with the political party. You should either be the minority or the majority. Same case also applies to the contest for president. And it's for good measure. And it may be perceived that there is some little bias on my side, but the contest here is between Raila Amolo Odinga and William Samoei Ruto. One of them will be president. Look, a rat may look like an elephant, but it's not an elephant. These independent characters better look for something else to do. And if they've been excluded by IEBC for the reasons given, then they're entitled to go to court if honestly they believe IEBC has not applied the law correctly. It's not a case of saying there are forces. I mean, which forces?
Okay. All right. Well, we're still discussing this issue pertaining to IEBC, so I just want to exhaust these electoral matters before we switch gears and talk about the manifesto and yours that's supposed to be released in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. Now, when you're talking about IEBC, you've been cleared as a candidate for the Westlands seat, and you'll be flying the UDA flag. And we saw the re-entry of the incumbent legislator back into that race, and some have argued that this has sort of shifted waves within that particular constituency, and it's probably ruined your chances now that he's back to that particular seat and trying to defend his seat. How do you answer to people who come from that school of thought?
Look, the moment you embark on a contest, you must be prepared for 2 outcomes. You will either win or you will lose. So I'm prepared for either outcome. Now, does the relegation of Tim Wanyoni from the contest of governor to member of National Assembly pose a big challenge? If you are to ask the people of Westlands, they will tell you no. Why? Because Tim Wanyoni told the people of Westlands that he will serve for 2 terms only, and thereafter he will go and contest as governor. And he has been campaigning for the office of governor for the last 1 year. Now it's incumbent upon him to explain why, if he is not suitable to be governor of Nairobi, he will be suitable to be member of National Assembly for Westlands. And still on that question, these other many questions will be asked. What did he not do in 10 years that he seeks to do in 5 years? And I can tell you, because I've been speaking to the people of Westlands for the last 1 year. Westlands is the most neglected constituency when it comes to infrastructural development. It is the richest constituency with the highest number of poor people. Why do I say so? In the last 15 years, no new school has been built in Westlands. No hospital has been built in Westland. No market has been built in Westland. Yet there is an allocation of 150 million per year for every constituency. On Sunday, we were in the neighboring constituency in Kikuyu. Look, there was a 3-storied school occupying almost half an acre. Look at bursary. The auditor's report indicates that 34 million allocated for bursary last year have not been accounted for.
Yeah.
Yet my phone rings every day. I receive messages, can you help me pay school fees? Can you help me pay school fees? The people of Westlands have come to the realization that what is due to them does not come to them.
Okay.
This morning, my team took this lady from here in Parklands to Mpisha Hospital because she's been ailing for a while. Look, what is the handicap in us having low-level hospitals that can cater for the people within the areas of Kangemi, within these slums of Kibagare, Mujiwa Uruma, etc. Look, if there is anybody who doesn't see that Westlands has lagged behind, then that person has a problem. But it is my firm belief that the people of Westlands are enlightened enough to see the propriety of having an impactful leader in the National Assembly. But for me to close on that point, Tim Wanyonyi has spoken only once in the National Assembly. And when did he speak? He spoke during the debate on the BBI bill. And his speech was towards the approval of that bill. What has he been doing in Parliament? The role of a member of National Assembly, fundamental role, is legislation. Debate, debate, and debate. If you can't speak in Parliament, you've got no business being in Parliament.
Okay, well, we'll just leave that particular point at that point because we don't have the right of reply on the same, but fair enough, you've shared your sentiments. Just as we wind down on this issue pertaining to your aspiration in the Westlands constituency. Now, even as you were presenting your papers for clearance to the IEBC back then about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not wrong, you raised some serious allegations on how your major aspirant has been carrying out himself in terms of hiring goons, in terms of just basically creating frustrations for your campaign. As of today, even as we are heading closer to the election, do we have any sort of energy pertaining to that front in terms of friction between the two of you, and can you actually confirm that this is something that's ongoing?
Look, there is a culture that has prevailed in Westlands for the last 10 years. It is tokenism and dependency. And it is concentrated amongst the youthful male population in Westlands. They don't have jobs. They don't have anything to do. Most of them will be easily available for misuse and abuse. Now, referring to the incidents you've just asked me, the returning officer made it quite clear you don't need to come with your supporters to the tallying center for purposes of presenting your papers. And I went just by myself, my driver and my bodyguard. When I arrived at KTTC, there was a multitude of about 1,000 men and women shouting. They'd blocked the entrance. I couldn't drive past. And I looked at them. Most of them are people I know. They told me, look, Tim has given us 300. If you give us 500, we'll give you easy access. I told them, look,
we can't confirm this. You know, this is
you asked.
your word for it.
But anyway, so to conclude, they blocked the road. So I came out of the car and walked. But even as I walked, mayhem ensued, and police had to lobby tear gas to clear. But what am I saying? We need to empower this youth. We need to have them in employment. We need to have them do jobs that give them an income. And this is what we need to run away from. And look, Tim does not have a monopoly of violence, but we are living in a civilized society. It is for that reason that I've implored the young men and women of Westlands to embrace development. When you see individuals like me volunteer to serve, it is not because we want to benefit like the previous leaders who have been there. We want to serve you. We want to better your situation. Look at Kangemi Cemetery Memorial Park. It is a park, 3 acres, allocated for a recreational facility. It had been converted into a dump site. Deplorable. What has the area member of parliament been doing? Nothing. You go there, the boys that he uses to cause mayhem and violence are domiciled there. I've converted them into useful young men and women. Instead of scavenging from that park, I've converted them into park attendants so that they will take care of the trees I planted. They will clean up that place. They will go home in the evening with a decent income, tired so that they're able to sleep, to wake up looking forward to a better tomorrow. This is what we need to do. Not just in Kangemi, but in all other areas of Westlands.
Okay. All right. Well, we would love to continue on that front. But of course, we're just also looking at the number of issues that we have to discuss tonight. We were talking about IEBC's place and how they've been able to carry out themselves so far. Nelson says they've done their bit, but also there is to some extent that needs to be checked in terms of different aspects of how they dispense their duties. Coming right up, we'll also be discussing issues pertaining to the Azimio Manifesto. Remember, UDA haven't yet released their manifesto. But of course, we want to delve deeper into the issues that Raila Odinga talked about. Babacare, he talked about reigniting the industrialization sector, the manufacturing, and of course, an issue that has elicited mixed reactions, and this pertains to the utterances he made in relation to the Mitumba sector. Were they taken out of context, or he should actually be held accountable? That will also be discussing immediately we take this break. At this point, we want to take a short break right here on Punchline, get some daily and news updates for today, then get back with the conversation. Do stay with us.